we complete the trainer's part of the demo. Okay. In the meantime, do you have any questions for me about the course contents that I just showed? Any question at all? Can I get a yes or a no, some sort of an acknowledgement over the chat box? Okay. No. Okay. All right. Sunil, Sri, Pablo, Nile, Nazima, Kabir, Deepa, yes, no?
Yeah, no.
How can we get to this actually class? I do have a question actually. How can you get into the class? You'll send us the link, right?
Yes, we will keep sending you the link on a daily basis.
Daily basis. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Great. So I'm gonna bring in Ashish so that he can take over now. He will be, the trainer responsible for your batch, like I mentioned earlier, and he can continue from here. Ashish, you are now the presenter. You can bring up your screen and you can take over from here.
Thanks, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. This is Ashish here. Yeah, so I was just listening. Anthony was telling about the different layer of the programming which is there in the market, starting from the HTML, CSS, JavaScript to Java middleware, and then finally big data. Yeah. The big data Hadoop, it's a big thing. It's just growing in the market, and all it needs Java at the base. So I think Java is one of the language which probably if you are mastering, you can get into any layer, any kind of role in the industry, right? So let me just share my screen. Let me find out where is the share button. Yeah, share screen. Because this presentation, I'm going with a small PPT, which I just prepared for you guys to follow as a roadmap for the programming and for the Java. The agenda is very simple. The introduction will happen first, as the introduction has given by Anthony already, so I will not take more time. But I just want to hear from you people that you can see my screen properly.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So 1 second, where is the chat window? Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so my full name is Ashish Kumar Verma, and I have almost 11 years of experience starting with core Java, J2EE, and all the technologies which touch the Java development life cycle, and some of the JavaScript based framework which are recently very popular in the market, like EXTJS, HighCharts, jQuery also are there in my profile. So I have served industry for almost 11 years, which is including 7 years of experience exclusively in training and teaching for Java related technology. And this is the first exposure for the guys which are there on this video kind of training, and I hope that it will go good. So let's not waste the time and let's come to the programming overview. Yeah. So I hope that you people are, I can hear something. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, somebody is saying something.
No.
Okay, 1 second. Yes. So, yeah, I was just doing that. Where is my... 1 second, I just... let me pull the this web menu. Okay. Oh, chat. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you guys are, already familiar with the computers, and by saying that, I think it's a stupid thing because everybody knows about the computer, laptop, tab, and everything is there in the market and people are using. But when it comes to the computer in terms of the commercial form, maybe you are the person who is actually designing this stuff using the computer, or the person who is using the computer for writing the programs. So we are a set of we are sort of people who want to be a Java programmer, right? So when we start looking into the programming, then the first thing comes in the mind that, hello, anybody is saying something?
No.
Beside the trader, if we all like muted, that would be better.
Yeah, that would be great. And if you want to communicate something, please use chat window. I have chat window in front of me. I can see the messages from each and everybody. So, okay. Shall we start? Right. So, I was talking about the computer when we use computers in commercial form. So, computers can be used in commercial form by, doing the designing stuff. You can just do some R&D stuff, or you can write the general purpose programs. When it comes to the program, then you need a programming language, because to write a program, we need to speak in the same way that computer understands. So if we start the programming evolution in terms of the language, then first it comes for the machine language, which could understand only the 0, 1, right? That was a digital form. And till today, the computer understands only 0 and 1. It is, the set of people who prepared the other layers on top of that, so that it would be easy for the person who can write the programs in those constructs which were easy for him to write. Otherwise, if you have to write everything in a 0, 1, then you can imagine the complexity, right? The 0, 1 itself is very complicated, because there is only one, the 0 and 1, and to write in 0, 1, it's not feasible for the general user, for a average programmer, right? We are not the scientists. We are just the programmer who just want to use the computer language for the commercial purpose. We don't want to invent anything, but we just want to write the programs for general purpose, for enterprise applications. So for us, the feasibility of writing the programs, the easiness of writing the program, the related technologies, tools should be there. So you will see when you will start learning Java that there are hundreds of thousands of tools for Java in the market, and the best part is that they support the open source specification. So you don't have to buy any license or anything, because you can just go and download and you can use those tools. Tools makes our life easy, right? So in the same way, the scientist or the researcher, the inventors who actually invented computers, they thought that the machine language will not suffice for writing the programs. Let us start with something which could just suppress the machine language, which could hide the machine language, and they came up with the assembly language. The assembly language was bit easy. It was using the symbols and a kind of assembler to assemble the symbolic notations, and finally it was translating into the machine language. After the years, the phase came where the assembly was also a burden, right? Just to write a statement, you probably have to break up your statement into number of assembly language related codes. So they invented COBOL. That was subroutine based interpreter language, and it was just they were using only for the mainframe computers earlier. Nowadays also, the COBOL advanced version, the people are using for mainframe. But it's a very powerful language. But at the same time, that intuitiveness, that the easiness is not there for the general purpose programmer. You have to be master in certain aspects to use the COBOL. Then around 1972, the first language, the mother of language, basically the C invented, and it gave the audience, the community, a general purpose programming language, right? It used compiler, linker, assembler, number of concepts to easiness the process of writing the program, to compiling into the respective assembly code to the machine language. And finally, C++ came in the market with object-oriented principles, which were which were not there in the C. I will just talk about few of the differences between the C and C++ and Java also. So C was the first language which gave the structured programming approach, and C++ it gave the object-oriented approach. So let's talk about what do you mean by the procedure-oriented approach or the object-oriented approach? Anybody can? I'm coming. One second. I just got a message from do you have any program experience? Okay. So Nile, you are. I just want to answer here, Nile. Though he just messaged me in private, but I want to answer here at first, then we'll continue. And you are free to ask the questions in between, because it's an introductory session. I just want to know each and every person, if they have any doubt. So what Nile is saying, that he is from networking field, do not have any programming experience. Can you explain how? Okay. As I said, Nile, you are from networking, so probably you are maybe you have dealt with the different concepts of networking, right? That is topology, the source IP translation, and related other concepts also, right? So how do you fit in this program? Java is one of the basic language which gives the networking layer inside the application. We have java.net package, which basically you can use to write the basic single thread server. You can write multi-thread server. You can write non-input output blocking server. So all the application server, starting from Apache to JBoss to WebSphere, WebLogic, everything is written in Java. So I think you can do wonders if you have a networking knowledge and Java knowledge, right? Because you have a lot of scopes in telecommunication domain as well, right? So I think this is the answer of your question. If you have any specific question, just ping me again, right? Okay. So yeah, we were discussing about the procedure-oriented approach and object-oriented approach, right? So when I say approach is just the method of attacking on the problem, right? So what method you will use to solve a problem, to attack on that? So when I say procedure oriented approach or functional oriented approach, that means that the problem what we have in hand, we try to solve that problem using the functions. We try to just decompose the problem in terms of the different functions, right? Now, if I talk about the functions are like program, the logic, okay? And you have, data. The data and the logic. Why we have logic? Because we have data and we have to process that data to just, generate some information. That is what the computer program is in existence, and that is the whole meaning of IT industry. That you have data, you have tools, you have hardware, memory, processor, all those things, and then you apply these things on a data, to save data, to translate data, to communicate data, to transfer data, to load, restore, whatever you do, right? You do with the data, and this data becomes information. So we write program because of not the Java or C++ or anything else, because of the data. Okay. So there are two important things. The first thing is the data itself. on which we have to apply some of the logic to generate some meaningful information. And the second thing is that the logic what we are writing, how we are writing, how we are approaching the logic, and how we are thinking to write the logic in terms of functional approach or object oriented approach. These are the two methodologies which are going on. Okay, so the functional approach says that you have a data in a separate form, and then you have certain functions which gets execute or invoke or just run by the computers in a particular flow, and in that flow these functions or the logic just apply on the data and you get the information. This is the concept of the procedure oriented approach followed by the C language, COBOL and assembly, all the other languages earlier. Now when it comes to the object oriented approach, the object oriented approach says that you don't see the data and the logic separately. What you do, you combine the data and logic in a single unit, and that unit will become as an object. And then you divide, or you probably figure out the different object in your problem statement, in your problem domain, and then you create a messages between these objects. So this is the object oriented approach. If I say the object oriented approach, is it mapping to the real world? Yes, it is mapping to the real world. If you see any object around, like human itself is an object. You have a state, you have some characteristics, and you have some behavior also. But if I try to decouple human in terms of the procedure oriented approach, then I have to put the characteristics separately and then my behavior separately. So this is a basic fundamental difference between the procedure oriented approach and the object oriented approach. We'll talk about in detail, but just to give you heads up, because once you understand the basic concepts, then to write a program in Java is not a big deal, or even for any language. But if you don't understand these basic concepts, because it happens, right? People start learning Java, they start learning the keywords provided by the language itself. It is like you are learning the English or some other language, you are concentrating on the vocab, but you are not concentrating on the different grammar rules of that particular language, right? So one second. Okay. So as this pyramid you can see in the screen, it is talking about the machine language and coming till C++ and Java. Any questions on this particular slide? Okay. Right, so this is a bit expansion of the previous screen where the machine provides only 0 and 1 binary format. Super fast, because it directly understand by the hardware. There is no translation, nothing is required in between. You have hardware, you have 0 and 1 binary format, you load those modules into the registers and it will run on the processor. Now in the assembly language, we have, it's a symbolic language like move, load, add, those things are there, and the other symbolic tokens are there, and it needs an assembler to convert into binary format. So there is a bit slowness, but in terms of computer it is super fast too, right? Because it got calculated in nanoseconds, or those measurements are there. So assembly language is also super fast, but in comparison to the machine language, it is bit slow. Okay. Now you have a COBOL where you have assembler and interpreter. So first it will interpret, then it will convert into the assembler will convert into the binary, and finally it will execute on the computer. Sorry. Then we have a C, which is the mother of general purpose programming language, procedure oriented, and needs compiler. Now, compiler, linker, and assembler. These are the tools which the researchers they have invented already, so we don't have to worry about to write all those things in terms of the binary or assembly code. So as I was talking about, the Java also has lot many tools. So these tools are just giving you to write a program from the scratch within seconds. Earlier it was very tough, but now it is very easy. Oh, one second. Okay. Now the C++, being an object-oriented language, provides real-world modeling, use compiler and dynamic linking for processing. The dynamic linking reflection is a very powerful concept. We'll talk about that, the reflection and dynamic linking in terms of Java. Now last is the Java. It's a simple object-oriented language. C++ is also object-oriented. It has almost all the features what Java has, or I would say in terms of the programming, if you go in deep in the programming, so I would say the Java and C++. C++ has lot other features also, but those are very complicated in terms of implementations, are meant for only for system programming, not for the general purpose or enterprise level programming. Okay. So this is the end of slide 2, which just covered the programming overview in terms of the language, the evolution from assembly to COBOL to C to C++. Now we will talk about Java a little bit, and we'll start with the history of the Java. I hope because you people were interested in what Kabir is saying no. So what do you mean by no, Kabir? Can you speak up?
No, that time you asked, do you have any questions or not? I just answered no.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Kabir. Yeah. So you people must have heard about this, that the Java is platform independent. So anybody has any idea what does it mean Java is platform independent? And you can see this on the screen, like we have Java program, compiler, JVM, then some operating systems are there. Any idea about this?
It will run on any operating system or like Unix, Mac or anything.
It will run on any operating system, just like Unix, Linux. So what is the advantage? It's a program, it's meant to run. What big deal? What is the advantage if it can run on any operating system? Okay, write once, bytecode. Sunil is saying write once, bytecode. Okay. Okay, so advantage, maybe the computer, the program basically, the program destiny is just to run on the system. Beat it, I mean, whether it is Windows, Unix or Mac OS, it doesn't have any life, right? It can't feel where I am running in. I am running in Windows or Unix or Mac, or I am running in an Android device or a smartphone. It doesn't bother. But as a programmer,
sorry to interrupt you. Actually, as far as I understand, it's more of like a portability. That means that you can actually bring the same code to Unix, Linux. It's very mobile and very portable.
Yes, you are right. Yeah, I was about to come to that point, but in just telling you the other guys also, like a programmer, being a programmer, if you are writing a program, right? Because now as the market has expanded in terms of the different devices. The different operating systems are there, the different application servers are there, the different platforms are there. And if you are supposed to write a program which is just needs some modification on each and every combination of the different operating system, application server and platform, then it would be a nightmare for you to establish that project or that program, right? Because once you will write something, it might break on some other operating system or some other environment or the platform. So Java gives you this facility of portability of the code and it says that write once and run anywhere. You just write a Java code once and sorry and follow the specifications provided by Java, or actually you don't have to worry if you are just writing the programs using Java programming language, then it is already taken care. It is automatically taken care. Some very exceptional cases are there. I will talk about that little bit, but not much because that is a bit advanced level. So you write a Java program and then you can run on anywhere, right? But how it is happening, how this portability is happening? It is happening because of the JVM. If you can see my screen, I have an image where Windows 32 has a JVM, Unix has a JVM, and Mac OS has a JVM. So what Java inventor, Mr. James Glossing, what he thought that, okay, because the different machine would have the different operating system, they probably may have the internal architecture which is different from the different machine. But if I can write a virtual machine, right? A virtual machine would be another programming layer, a kind of big program basically, okay? What I'm writing, a virtual machine, a programming layer, which will just suppress my hardware from my Java programming or Java program basically. So when my Java program is there, then it will directly not execute in the environment of the hosting operating system, but it will execute inside the Java virtual machine. Now it's kind of layer like you have seen earlier, right? If I am writing a program in C, then first it will convert into assembly and then it will convert into binary, because computer understands only 0 1, right? So we need a converter. In the same way, what they have done, they have written the JVM, the Java virtual machines, for different machines, because the architecture is different. So let's say if I have a Windows 32, okay, so what Windows 32 will do, it will have its own specification. Then the JVM, which is for Windows 32, understand the specification, the hardware, the system calls, the native calls, everything. And the Unix related JVM understand the Unix related all those things, right? And in case of Mac OS, we have JVM, which is compatible with the Mac hardware and their operating system related architecture. But all these JVM has a common specification which is understood by the Java programming language. Now if you are writing a program in Java and if you are using a compiler of Java, they will provide the same input to each and every JVM, which is called bytecode. If I come to the next slide, you can see this process, right? So I write a Java source here. I use a Java compiler which generates the Java bytecode, the class file. It is happening at compile time basically. Now this bytecode can be bring into the Java runtime locally or through network also. As Nile asked me that what is the scope in the networking. So probably you are writing a Java program and finally when you are using the compiler to compile it, it will generate all those class files. You can just bundle the class file in terms of a jar file. Jar is a module in Java basically. the combination of interrelated class files, just create a package which is called jar, and this jar file you can use locally or you can use in the network, right? That is why Java is one of the first preferred programming language for all the networking related concepts. Even the meeting tool, the Cisco what we are using, it is written in Java. Okay, so let's go back. Then this bytecode will basically contact to the class loader provided by the Java runtime, JRE, which is called JRE, and this class loader use the bytecode verifier first to authenticate whether the bytecode, the class file, is valid or not. Then it will use Java virtual machine to load everything inside, and the Java interpreter, Java Justin. So this layer is basically Java virtual machine, and it is dependent on the hosting operating system, right? So if you see the picture, still Java is dependent, the JVM is dependent on the hosting system, and it is different for each and every hosting environment, but where you are writing Java program which is independent because the JVM is taking care. So this is the concept of Java being platform independent. If we elaborate this concept, then we will see this picture where we have a Java source code. Sorry. And I have this java.exe, right? Java.exe is nothing but the Java compiler. Okay. And this Java compiler is on this 86 machine. Then we have a PowerPC and the Spark architecture, the Spark based machines like Solaris. The Java compiler basically use because the compiler will also have the different capabilities on the different machines. So you are responsible just for writing Java program. So once you write a Java program using the system hosted dependent Java compiler, it will finally generate the class file, which is a common format for each and every Java interpreter, which is known as JVM, and executed by the java.exe. Okay, so why all these tools are in the picture? Just to make life easy for the programmers, for the developers, because we have to concentrate on the business logic. If I am doing a transaction, then what is my low limit, what is my high limit, what kind of interest is applying on the transaction or the account which I am writing a program for, right? Those kind of problems are related to the developer's profile. He is supposed to write the business logic. He is not supposed to invent the infrastructure or the IDE related tools. So that is why Java is giving you a lot of tools, and this is one of the example for being a platform independent. Sorry. So let's talk about the bytecode. As I said, like the Java, when you compile it, it will generate the class file or the bytecode, and the bytecode finally understood by the different JVM. So this is the bytecode, how it works, and this is the networking example where Java is, you are writing a Java program, and then probably you are compiling your Java program on a different machine. Finally, it is generating the bytecode. Bytecode would be placed on the web server for download, right? So you are putting the bytecode on some server, and finally the client is using the Internet Explorer or the other browser to connect to your site, and finally it is downloading the bytecode at the client machine, right? And client using web browser, inside a web browser, like if you are using YouTube, you have a Flash player which is actually rendering the movies. It's a plugin. Likewise, Java in a browser works as a plugin. So when you access the Java-based applications, it might download those jars, that particular bytecode, and then it will run inside your browser environment. And it can be any operating system or the kind of system, like it can be Mac, PC, or Unix. So this is how the Java bytecode works. But now I just wanted to tell you that what is the need of bytecode. What was the need of bytecode? One was the platform independence. So platform independence is coming through JVM, and the common specification referred to the bytecode. But still, if you go into the deep to understand the need of bytecode, then you will end up with the different data types. Okay, let's understand in this way that if you are writing a program in a C or a C++ language, okay, we are writing a program just to manipulate data. That is for sure. Okay, right. Now to store data, we have to have some kind of data types. We have to use some kind of data types like integer to represent the data, the numerical data basically, string or characters to represent the character or a string data. Like if you have to store name, you need a string. If you need to store the amount of an account, then you need a float. Or you need to store an age, then you need an integer. So all those different kind of data are there. All these data types has a memory footprint. Like integer is taking 2 byte, okay? A double is taking 4 byte. Byte is nothing but the measurement of the memory. And we, generally talk about the GB. I have 8 GB memory card. What do you mean by 8 GB, right? So we can just decouple GB into MB, MB into byte, and byte finally bits. So this is how the memory works. But the capacity of the each and every data type might be different on the different operating system or the different machine. Suppose if Windows is saying that, okay, just use 2 bytes for storing an integer, right? But Mac is saying, no, I will use 4 bytes to store an integer, or I will use 8 bytes to store a long integer. I have a different specification for short integer. So those things are there in terms of memory which are related to the architecture of the computer. Now, if you have to write a program and you are writing program to manipulate data, data is using data types on the different machine, it has a different requirement of the memory, then how you are going to create a portability, a program which should be portable on the different platform. Because bytecode is the specification which is just taking care of this mapping, the memory requirement from the Java side to the different operating system. So this was the need of bytecode to bring in the picture to first write a Java program and then you convert into a bytecode. Bytecode would have a specification for the memory requirement for different architecture or for different operating systems, and finally it will just hand over the responsibility to that particular JVM that now it is your turn to use this specification and expand or scale in terms of the memory requirement for the different operating system. So in short, what we can say that the various data types has a different footprint in different machines. To make it consistent, Glossing invented the concept of bytecode to replace normal object code. The object code is the terminology in C and C++. So Java is platform independent. Any doubt on that or any questions on that? Have we understood the bytecode, the compiler, the interpreter? You can send a message or you can just tell me yes or no. If there is no question, then I'll move to the next slide. Okay. So Java is simple. As I said, Java is object-oriented programming, but it is simple. It's not like C++, which support for memory management and gives you the pointer out of the box, and then it gives a number of functions for allocating memories, dealing with the different complexities like alloc, malloc. These are the functions which are responsible for memory allocation. You have to take care about the garbage collection. It's very, very complex stuff to deal with the memory. So what Java is saying, let me handle all those things for you. Now you concentrate only on the application logic and writing the programs. You don't worry about the memory allocation, deallocation, garbage collection, pointers, page swap memory. You don't worry about all those things. So Java also does not allow multi-inheritance because it may create a cyclic reference or diamond problem. If you people, some of the might know about the inheritance. Inheritance is like you have a common entity, and the further entities are just inheriting some of the characteristics or the features from the parent entity, right? But if this is happening in terms of a circular reference, then it might become a problem. Just like a truck driver is there, okay? In this diagram, you just see this is a truck driver which has some characteristics of being a driver. He may have the license number. He may have, the expiry date for, this thing. Whatever vehicle he is running, he would have the other characteristics related to the he is just crossing some of the borders in the different state, stuff like that. The same thing would be required by the Japanese truck driver, but he might have additional characteristics too. And it similarly goes for French, American, and Australian. But when it comes to the international truck driver, then it becomes a mess, because the international truck driver might inherit the features from the different truck drivers who are basically French, American, or Japanese. So it creates ambiguity, because if this Japanese has a driving license number, French has a driving license number, American has a driving license number, then international truck driver will have 3 driving license number, which is invalid. A person can have only one this driving license number, right? If he is an international truck driver, because internationally you will have only one. So that way the cyclic reference and the multi-inheritance fails. A simple example, if you see, for the person has a name, student has a name, employee has a name. What about teaching assistant? Who is a student and who is an employee? Both kind of characteristics are there. But if he is going to inherit the features from these two entities, or the classes, basically, these are the classes, we'll talk about this, then it will have 2 names. That is again invalid. Right? So Java does not give you the multi-inheritance, and Java is simple. Any questions on that? Okay. Java is secure. Java has lot more APIs, including bytecode verifier to security manager, to just writing a secure program, because security is one of the major requirement in any enterprise software, because they can't compromise with the security. So like I said, Java has an inbuilt support for the security, and it just starts with when you compile the Java program, it checks for the security domain, in which domain you are compiling and all, and finally it uses the bytecode verifier to verify, and then if the things are proper, then it passes the control to the core Java API, which is including the security package too. We'll talk about this, but as a takeaway from this slide, we can say that Java is purely secure. Okay, Java is object oriented, as I said earlier. So what are the objects? Anything which we see around all are the objects. It's including phone, car, or whatever is there. Motorbike, cell phone, bottle, everything is an object. Right? We'll talk about the OOPS concept. What are the object-oriented concepts in a little while. And before that, we'll start a demo on the Java. So, one second. Okay. So, for writing a Java program, you don't need any special tools, though it is very much required for professional development. But in general, if you are a learner, right, if you are just learning the Java, you don't have to much worry about the tools and all. You only need a JDK, that is Java Development IDE, Java Development, software development kit for developing the Java solutions. I hope you will have this JDK, since I have one which I have installed in the machine, which is JDK 1.6, that is Java Development Kit. 1.6 is the version of the Java. Currently Java 1.8 is going on in the market, but at enterprise level, still we are just migrating to 1.6, 1.7. 1.8 is more about the internal updates. It's not about putting the Java from usage perspective, the programming perspective. The program what we are writing in Java from 1.6, the similar program we can write in 1.8 also. Some of the new features are there, which is for supporting your functional oriented approach. Now, as I said, functional oriented and object oriented, two approaches are there, but now the market is actually looking for the hybrid approach, where you have the object oriented and functional approach. Both approaches are there, because some of the problems the researchers, they found that are very good to solve with the functional oriented approach, and some of the problems are meant for object oriented. So Java 8 is the addition for the functional object oriented approach in terms of the lambda expressions, in terms of the Java based other languages like Groovy, Scala, right? So those things are just coming in the market. They need to struggle. I think they will struggle for some time, and then probably enterprise will start using them, because there are around 70 to 80% softwares of the enterprises which are written in Java. To migrate them into the Java future version is not an easy task. The billions of a business is dependent on them. So yeah, it will take time, but this is how we grow, right? In terms of Java also, because Java is also adding in new features day by day, right? So you install a Java program, then it will look similar to this. You have the bin folder, include the Java runtime environment is there, the library, copyright, license, those things are there. You have a README which you can read, and probably you can see what are the things which are available. So let's start a program in Java. So I have opened my notepad. It's a very simple ASCII based editor where you can write the programs for Java. So let me start a simple programming in Java by using a OOPS concept, because Java is a pure object oriented language. You can't write a single line without using the OOPS the concepts. Okay, so my first class. Then yeah, if you are aware with the C, then in C we used to write a program using the starting point, which is called a main function. Similar way in a Java, we have a starting point which is a main function too, but with some other noise like public, static, void main. Okay, so don't worry about that, because I will tell you what is the need of this, and this function is not always required, because Java gives you the capability to write a program not only for the web but for the desktop, the mobile, the setup box. There are around 5 billion devices which are running on the Java. So some of the devices, some of the environment or the profile need you to write this public static void main. Otherwise, it is not required. Now, let me just put a simple statement over here, which is just saying that hello Java. Yeah, so I'm using this notepad for now, but I will start using the Eclipse, that is the environment for development environment, which we can write the Java programs, just to give you the feel how the program we can write in the Java and we can run just using the notepad. But I mostly use the Eclipse, the IDE, because there you feel comfortable, right? You can just write the Java programs and you can do the magics over there. Here you have to type so many things. So, but this was the real aim of the Java, right? Once they released the JDK, by the time we did not have so many tools. So it was a very pain for the programmers to write the code using the simple notepads and all. So the first program .java is my class name, and then I have written a class which is a public class, first program, public static void main, and simple, it is just printing hello Java. Then okay, it is already open, but I'll tell you, go to the run and then type the cmd. Now it will open a command prompt or shell of that particular operating system, and here we need to compile this program and need to run this program, right? So I have saved somewhere in my Java. Okay. Now, if you are using CMD, a cool tip is that, like suppose if you have to go into the program files, in C we have program files, right? So we use CD, we know that CD command, and program. So you just write few letters of that particular directory and you press tab. and it will automatically, complete that name. So it is just a tip which you can follow. So likewise, I used my Java. In the command line in Mac, no, in Mac we have shell. Most of the commands are same in the Mac also, because cd and cd dot dot, these commands are same for creating the directory, mkdir, those things are same in but the other commands, when it comes to the copying the file from one location to another location, to changing the permission of a particular directory or the file, or just to use some kind of recursive command which is just processing the directory at a higher level, then the Mac differs little, because it is based on the Unix system, and I am using the Windows system, right? Okay, so I am in my Java, and then if I dir, right, then it shows that first program.java, that particular file is there. And let me compile this file, that javac first program.java, right? And I tell you one more thing. Here, if you are writing Java program for first time, this javac will work only if you have set the Java environment variable, right? So how to do that? So once you download the JDK, you install the JDK, it will get installed inside somewhere program files or whatever is the file on your machine, right? C:\program file, this and this, and then you go to the control panel, go to the advanced system settings, and then go to the environment variables, and you define a variable here called Java_home, and you provide this value. You go to the new, type the variable name and the variable value, like this. In case of Mac and Unix, you can use the export command to do the same thing. Sorry. Similarly, you have to define a Java home variable in the system variable sections too, right? So it is telling operating system, the underlying operating system, where is the Java home, where Java resides on the system, right? Because when it is using compiler or when it is using interpreter, it needs that JDK, that JRE. JRE, we talked about JVM and JRE, right? So if you go to this folder, you will find a JRE, which is Java runtime environment. It has all the libraries which Java use at runtime. It has different DLL files which Java use at runtime, because Java is platform independent, but JVM is not. JVM is still interacting with the underlying operating system. In my case, this is Windows. Okay. So once you are writing Java program, you need this to set at the environment level variable, and then you say javac first program.java, and then it will compile your program. Now if you see, you have a class file and you have a Java file. Both of them are there. The compiler has converted or compiled the Java program basically into bytecode, which is a class file. Now I will do this Java. which is my executor, which will invoke the JVM and it will run the program. I can see hello Java over here. All right. So this was a very basic and simple program, but likewise we can create the complicated programs too. So if I go and create a second program in Java. So any doubt, any questions so far? Yeah, I think he said correct that these concepts will be elaborated as an time to time in the different the other classes, because Java, for Java it is to be said in the IT industry that Java is a language of convention. So if you know the convention, the concepts of Java, then you can write a Java program very easily. It requires a very like C++ or C, where you need all that where you need to have all those sophisticated skills in terms of the system programming. You need to know the architecture of the processor. You need to know the different offering of the operating system and the different interrupt calls and all. In case of Java, it is like a piece of cake. You don't have to worry about the underlying hardware. You just have to concentrate on writing your business logic. Yeah. So, do I have any questions? Guys, are you there?
Yes, Ashish. Like, so in Java, we will write all the program in Notepad, or like in a different tool or somewhere.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question once again?
Yeah, like throughout the whole course, we're gonna write all the coding in Notepad, or we're gonna write it in any other tool.
No, not at all Notepad. We are going to write in Eclipse. We are going to write in Eclipse IDE basically. Let me just give you the brief of or the feel of the Eclipse. Just wait 2 minutes.
Okay.
But there are a number of IDE. What is IDE? IDE is Integrated Development Environment. Eclipse is one of the popular open source Java development IDE. Then you have NetBeans. You have what is that? JDeveloper. Then one good IDE is which is licensed one basically. It's a IntelliJ IDEA, which is a very good IDE, but it's a licensed one. So IDE gives you all that integrated tools. I'm just copying the IDE. I will just share with you the Eclipse IDE, how to write a program in Eclipse IDE. Just copying into my system. It will take another 2 minutes. Any questions apart from this IDE? Any questions on the understanding of the programming evolution, or the with Java, why it is platform independent, how it is platform, or why it is simple, or the contents, whatever we have covered so far?
Yeah, Ashish, one more question I'm adding on that. Like, so you wrote that public class first program and then public static void main and string args. So those are standard words we need to use, or those are just like maybe the like it may be change in different program.
Uh, one second. Okay, yeah. Just to answer your question, see, every language and this thing, you have certain rules, right? Java, being a object-oriented language, has a skeleton of the class, where basically I just omitted some of the things. A skeleton or the structure of the class will start with the package name, okay, and then you will have the import statements. One second. And then you have a class definition. This is the standard structure of a Java program. Why we are starting with public static void main? Because it is the starting point in the Java program if you are writing it for desktop. If you are writing for Java applet, then you don't need this main method, right? And if you are writing a program maybe for Java Beans, right, which is another specification developed in Java, then even you don't need any main method at all, or the starting point of the program. It would be used by some third party Pojo based class or the framework, but you are still writing in Java. So I would say, like, the standards are there in terms of the structure of the program, and it is up to us to follow those standards. Here I don't have package name and it is optional, so I did not write it. I am not importing any statement, but yes, Java import java.lang automatically with every program. Either you import it or not import it. The similar way, every class will extend the object class. These are the things we are not writing. What we are doing, we are just writing the public class, but the compiler add this thing at the time of compilation. If I write this program in this way and if I try to compile, then see what happens. It is compiling properly. And it is running also. Right? Okay. IDE is ready. Let me just take you through the IDE. So this is Eclipse IDE. Okay. I need to copy this on the local machine again. It will take a bit time. Okay, let's come back to this program. Like the public class. Public is actually not required. If you don't want to write public, then it is okay. Also, you can define more than one class in your file. Now, if I say that I have a class that is a second class, and then this class can also extend object. If you are writing, it is fine. If you are not writing, then the compiler will add it automatically. Now suppose I have one function here. The function always start with access specifier, or this can be public or this can be private too. Like I said, if it is a private, then it cannot be accessed outside of this particular class. Now let me just make it public so that we can see how it is working in the different class also. We'll talk about access specifier, how to specify, what is the scope, right? Global scope or the local scope, whatever scopes are there. Then even I am not very much comfortable now in Notepad because I hardly use Notepad, just to give you the feel that how it was earlier to use Notepad. Yeah, nobody is using at the time of your professional development. Nobody is using the Notepad. It is just to run the program for testing purpose. Now we have two classes. One is the first program and second is the second class, right? We have this public static void main method here, and here we have public void say hello only, which is saying hello, I am second. And these are the libraries like system.out.println. This is the library which we can use basically to just display a message on the console. Console is nothing but your command prompt, right? Okay. Now, if I say javac first program dot java, because my file name is this thing. I'll talk about the file name and the relation with the classes. Oh, it is compiling now. If I say dir, then I have first program dot classes and second class dot class. I have first program dot class and second. While we wait, let us run through the okay. Yeah. You can the guys can see my screen. Okay. Now when I ran this Java first program, the first class, it executes well, but when I say Java second class, then it will say no such method error, and it is asking about the main method. So by default, whenever we run the Java on a particular class, it looks for a method called main, right? But in case of second class, there is no main method, so it is complaining about it. Okay, that is why we included the main method in our first program, and which is not there in the second program, and the second class is complaining about the same thing. Yeah. So these things will continue, but let me now show you something which is the interesting or the important thing for you. Java as a career. So Java is there for more than 75% of enterprise software. Very huge space and potential space for job hunting. So if you are looking for a Java programmer or for a Java developer or Java as a career, then you have probably number of choice. So here what I'm giving you the breakup, which is based on the role, right? You can be a UI developer, or versus a web developer basically, where you have to have a knowledge of JSP, JavaScript, Java, right? And like basic HTML is fine with you. And the range which is there in the US for this particular job, the starting is around 40 to 70K per annum, not for a month. Yeah, this is the annual or the per annum amount which is written in this slide. And if you are very passionate about R&D stuff, or you can just debug, investigate, and keep on doing the R&D stuff, then basically you can go for an engineer. And Java R&D based work for product companies, the companies like EMC, Google, companies like the NetApp, right? So these engineers basically do most of the R&D stuff in Java, and they basically constrain themselves into the JDK and only JDK related offerings. They don't use the open source tools. They don't use the commercial Java developed tools, because they are supposed to create the new tools. That's why they are the Java engineer. And this is a basic difference in between the developer and the engineer, right? Developer will follow certain guidelines set by the lead or the architect. Okay. He is supposed to just perform certain duties. He is supposed to write the code for some modules, right? He is supposed to write the code for a business logic. Whereas engineer, he is supposed to invent, he is supposed to develop new capabilities, new tools. So that is why the range basically depends on the level. You are normal, or the just associate engineer, or you are a senior engineer, or you are a principal engineer. There are a lot of demand for principal software engineers in the America, in the US or UK. Principal software engineers are like the people who can think about the capabilities, who can just draw the roadmap, who can actually write the code for that particular capability and the new tools. And mostly they are having a experience of almost 7 to 8 years. I also played principal software engineer roles for almost 3 years. After that, it comes to the tester. Now, some of the people will be surprised why the tester needs Java. Yes, they need Java because those days are gone where you are writing or just the testing manually, right? You are writing the test cases in the Excel sheet, or you are writing the test cases in the Word, and then you are testing manually. Nowadays you have to write the automation script, because there are the automation frameworks. There is Selenium. in picture, right? Which 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 want the person to write the automation test script, which will basically pick a data from the data source, and it will take that testing execution script, and finally it will run those test cases in an automated manner. It is not like that we have to write everything on the Excel sheet, and by reading and doing that we have to do that. No, that is gone. The starting is like 40 to 50K, and it depends on the experience and kind of negotiation what you can do with the contractor. Now, after that, you have a lead position. Lead is basically a bit experience, and you may become a lead maybe after 3 to 4 years of your work. And the starting range, lead role is just to assist the other users, other developers or the peers, that how they have to cope up with a particular problem, and he is responsible for interacting with the stakeholders, the business users, and the business itself about the technology and the plans and the architecture of the application. Whereas the architect is the overall Java tech stack knowledgeable person who knows a different technical solution for a single problem. Architect is a big thing. It needs almost 12 to 13 years of experience to be an architect, and the range is like 120 to 145, and it may go on also, because it depends on the kind of criticality what the business is facing, and what kind of architect he can afford. On top of that, you have a consultant. Java consultant is one of the highly paid job in the world. There is no restriction on the consultants how much they will get paid. It depends on the kind of technical strategy for a different solution what they are providing, in which framework or what kind of environment, which solution they are supposing they are supporting, or they are suggesting to the business, or they might come up with a new solutions or the new capabilities. So they are the combination of the lead architect, and they almost know each and everything about the Java and the related technologies. And starting is almost 170K to 200K per annum. And these positions are mostly on the contract basis. Very few companies are there which have the full-time consultant kind of thing. So these are the positions from the roles perspective. But Java has a designation and the positions for different tools too, right? Like if you are a Java programmer, a good Java programming, then you can become an integration engineer or integration developer also. When I say integration, that is also a buzzword nowadays in the market. Integration is just giving you the facility to integrate one or more system, one or more heterogeneous system, which are not compatible with each other, but they are using some kind of middleware to interact with, right? Like Mule is our ESB, the open source ESB, which gives this kind of facility. So if you know Mule, a package or framework about the Mule, how to write the Mule based scripts, then also you have a very good future in Java. So all kind of roles and positions, designations are there for Java, and it needs a base which is a Java language. you can just add up the new capabilities. The you can learn the framework like Spring, Hibernate, but all these are possible when you are comfortable with the Java. So there are so many doors in Java, and you just need to choose one of them to go inside. Any questions? Yeah? No questions?